they're off.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. A perfect fall day here in New York. Temperature right around 70 degrees, a little wind. Main track is fast. Turf is good. Race 2 is off the turf today. 1 o'clock first post. Here are the changes for today's 10 race card. No changes in the first, the start of the early pick 5. If you turn to race number 2, we are off the turf for the second. Mile and a 16th on the main track. Scratch the 3, Shutters. 6, Addicted to You. 11, Remember Mom. 14, Wicked Karma. And 15, Brian's Mission. Again, off the turf in race 2, the start of the early pick 4. Scratch the 3, 6, 11, 14, and 15. Race 3, scratch the main track only runner, the number 8, Motion to Strike. Race number 3, scratch the 8. No changes in race 4, the 28th running of the $150,000 Bertram F. Bongard. Race 5 starts the pick 6. These scratches. Scratch the 1, Beautiful Karen. 10, Mike's Girl. 11, Honey Money, 13, Prairie Fire, and 14, Fair Regis. Out of race 5, the start of the pick 6. Scratch the 1, 10, 11, 13, and 14. Race number 6 starts the late pick 5. Scratch the 4, Liberty Flame. A rider change for the number 10, Shane's Risk, to Dylan Davis. Dylan Davis rides the 10. Scratch the 14, Louchy, 15, Granny's Connection, and 16, Twist Just Right. Race 7 starts the late pick 4. An equipment change for the 2, Prefect. Blinkers on. Blinkers on the 2. Scratch the 3, Countdown. A rider change for the 11, Public Information. Make his rider Javier Castellano. Castellano rides the 11. And scratch the 12, Regality, 13, Gateway Guardian, 14, Rocco Strong, and 15, Road to Success. Again, scratches from race 7 take out the 3, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Race 8, scratch the main track only runners. The 1, Karamoka, the 1A, Chasing Kara, and the 14, Amity Island. Take out the 1, 1A, and 14. And an overweight for the number 2, Golden Oldie, 1 pound over. Race number 9 is the 28th running of the Grade 2, $250,000 Gallant Bloom. Please note there is no show, trifecta, or superfecta wagering in race 9. Scratch the number 3, Honor Way. Scratch the 3, Honor Way. And please note that the number 1, Bella Sophia, did not work on September 11th, 2021 at Gulfstream Park. Strike that work from the record for the number 1, Bella Sophia, in race 9, the Gallant Bloom. And in the finale, race 10, scratch the 1, Fort Drum. A rider change for the 6, Beyond Brown, to Benjamin Hernandez. Hernandez rides the 6. And scratch the 14, Fifth Risk. Again, in race 10, scratch the 1 and 14. A fast main track. Turf courses labeled good. First post coming your way at 1 o'clock for the 10 race card with a pick 6 that starts in race number 5. We'll be back with a reprise of the scratches and changes after the Sunday edition of Talking Horses. I'll be joined by the one and only Andy Serling.
morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Big A Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling on a bit of a windy but a beautiful day here at Belmont Park. 10-race card, 90 betting interests on today's card, 9 betting interests per race. A fun card. Looking forward to talking about it with you. Race number 2 off the turf. All the others remain on. We are fast. We are good. And there was plenty of give in the turf yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll see how things play out today. Have a little more sunshine, a little wind to dry it out. But the second race off the turf, you need to head over to NYRABets. NYRABets.com. If you're not a member, use today's promo code of match200. Sign up for NYRABets. We'll match for $200 your initial deposit once you've bet at least $200. Keep the money in the game. Support New York racing. Play through NYRABets. $50 win bonus. If you had $50 win bet on the Gallant Bloom and win, you get a $50 bonus. You know, put that in perspective. I'm sure a lot of people like Bella Sophia, and she's probably going to be in the 3 or 4 to 5 range. Well, let's say she's 3 to 5. If you bet $50 to win on her, and you got to opt in. Make sure you opt in. It takes about a second on your NYRABets on the app. You'll be getting 8 to 5 on her. It's pretty strong value. Let's say you like Lake Avenue, and she's going to be 8 to 5. You'll be getting, you'll be getting 13 to 5. You'll be getting 720 or so on her. That's a big, big value play. So a nice bonus there on the Gallant Bloom. America's Day at the Races on FS2, 12:30 to 6 p.m. today, covering all the action from here as well as Churchill Downs. All right, Anthony, race number 1. I think that Shalimar Gardens is about as close to a cinch in this race as you can possibly be. You seem to disagree. We'll show you Shalimar Gardens' last race. She's never been on a dry track. I don't know what that means. Probably means absolutely nothing. She'll probably run just as effectively on either surface. This is a very good effort by her in this last race. This was a track where the rail was good, and there's an argument it was a bit of an advantage. Bill Mott had a nice first-time start in this race and ended up winning the race. And Shalimar Gardens, the horse that just got herself into trouble. She's kind of running up on horses at this point, and she'll kind of be close. She's got speed. It's not as though she's particularly slow. I don't think she's going to be particularly out of it early. And she'll run in right here, and she's steadied off heels. I thought she ran extremely well to finish second. You obviously don't agree.
No, I do agree. I think she's going to be in the 3 to 5 range. I thought she probably should have won first time out.
Completely steadied out here.
Now she finds...
Wait, why should she have won first time out?
I don't know. I thought she was just a little green first time out.
I don't agree. I thought she had an absolutely perfect trip, and she had every chance to catch 2 horses, dueled around the racetrack, and couldn't catch them. I thought she improved dramatically here. She's making a huge 4-5 wide run in this race. She never stops running. That was an impressive effort. I believe she should be 3 or 4 to 5 in this race, and I think she's a virtual cinch.
Okay. I wanted to take one little shot against her with the second choice, a horse that has been the mile already, and that's the number 2, Tequila. I have nothing really bad to say about Shalimar Gardens other than she'll be a very short price.
Well, if you didn't like Tequila, wouldn't you say that she ran much, much better on a sloppy sealed track than she ever ran before?
Well, yeah. But she also has
If you didn't like her.
Well, she ran one time on a fast track. It was her first start as a 3-year-old off of a 10-week break. So I'm not going to...
She ran a race that'll get beaten 10 lengths here.
But it was also 9 months ago.
Oh, okay.
So,
wouldn't you also say that the last time we've seen her on the dirt was 4 months ago?
It was, but she's also off the layoff. They obviously gave her a shot. I mean, they ran her a mile and 3/16 on the turf. They took a shot with her on the turf. Now she comes back 6 weeks later. I don't know. I thought she made sense as the alternative. I wanted to take a little shot against the chalk.
She's obviously not going to be 12-11 to 1. I picked her second. I mean, I do think she's the second likeliest winner. There's no money in the pool, so obviously the board means nothing right now. I don't know why anybody would bet Big City Mama. I think she's made it pretty clear that she isn't much horse. I thought it was a 2-horse race, and I preferred Shalimar Gardens. You went the other way. Race number 2, the only race that is off the turf in race number 2. And you've stuck with your turf selection, Noble Journey. I
did. This horse debuted on the dirt, ran a couple of times last year here at Belmont Park, just 22 days apart. Once at Delaware, rather, and then once at Belmont Park. I don't know. I thought this horse was a little interesting. Jimmy Jerkins leaves this horse on the dirt. And this horse, while it was still turf season, did debut on the main track. I know the races on the turf have been better, but again, that was 2-year-old form. Jimmy leaves the horse in. I thought the horse was a little bit interesting, and I feel like this horse will be a little bit of a price based on the fact that the first 2 dirt races weren't very good, and the last turf race wasn't particularly good.
Okay. I didn't get the horse at all, but okay.
Dropping down.
Obviously, the horse to beat, probably. I don't get this horse at all. But, okay, I think this horse will be bet off turf for him. I liked it on the turf. I don't like him on the dirt, but we'll see. Maybe he'll run well. The 13 Sandra the Great, actually, is the horse to beat on the turf if it got in, and the horse to beat on the dirt. I'm not sure why you have the horse fourth. This horse's dirt races, they're just better than these. In fact, the fast track race is better than the dirt race. Horse lost it too early at 1 1/8 at Saratoga. Too early. Turley would be 1 to 1 billion in this race. 1 to 1 billion. He'd pay $2 in a micro penny to win this race. I mean, I think this horse is just a standout. He's been in his better form or his good form on the turf recently and is way the horse to beat in here. I took a small shot with Cox's Ledge, who in the second start tried to go 1 1/8 and now in Jorge Abreu's barn. So I'm hoping the horse could take a step forward. It's just a small shot putting second, but I probably should have gone 13-10. The 13 way the horse to beat. The 10 is a slight upsetter to me. I didn't see anybody else. I mean, Viking Zim, you don't have Viking Zim in there at all. What is wrong with Viking Zim's 2 dirt races?
Nothing.
I mean,
nothing in particular. I just think another horse, he's probably better. I mean, he's not probably. He's better on turf, and he's going to get better.
So
on
is the
turf
7 better on the dirt?
Right, but
turf.
one horse is going to be half the price of the other horse.
Not clear. Not so clear. Maybe. I mean, they'll probably, do the same stupid thing they did with City Man the other day. I mean, I picked City Man. It never occurred to me that he wouldn't be third choice in that race. He ended up the 4 to 5 favorite. So they do badly misbet these races off the turf. So maybe they really will go for Viking Zim. In this case, so the 13 is the horse to beat on either surface. Race number 3. Race number 3 to me was sort of a moto race on today's card. I didn't really care. I knew we'd both go for the number 1 Rogers Ginger. And the reality is, we look at the last race, Partners Hope scooted up the rail. Got beat by another horse that had a perfect trip. There were a couple of perfect trips, and frankly, as we go to the replay, Rogers Ginger did not have a perfect trip in this race, and thought ran very well. Was a solid 3 wide in the turn, angled out, and I thought Rogers Ginger ran very well.
Yeah, probably ran the best race of the 3 horses that run 1, 2, 3. The other 2 horses, like you said, worked out fantastic trips. The horse lost some ground, especially on the turn and in the lane. Yeah, I just thought this horse made. It sounds. I'm not the biggest fan of trying to lean or rely on maiden claimers, but to me, this horse made the most sense on the entire card.
You think this horse is a more likely winner than 1 in the first race?
I didn't pick the 1, so obviously I do.
Well, actually, those are 2 separate conversations. You could pick against a horse in a race and still think it's the most likely winner in a sequence. What if I pick the 2 in this race? Would I say I think that the 2's a more likely winner than the 1 in the first?
No, but I don't do that. So.
But you're actually wrong, though. That's something that you need to wrap your head around at some point. It's not about who we pick. It's who the best chances of horses winning. And just because we pick a horse doesn't make it the most likely winner. There are 2 very separate conversations. It's like saying the morning line maker is making his line based on how he thinks.
I'm not as convinced about Shalimar Gardens as you are. I'm more convinced.
You're missing. You're totally missing.
No, I get your point.
No, you don't, because you said something that's completely irrelevant. You don't get my point. My point is whether or not you think a horse is going to win. Shalimar Gardens is going to be around even money. This horse is probably going to be a slightly bigger price, maybe this. I think Shalimar Gardens is a significantly more likely horse to win this race. This horse got to come back. Shalimar Gardens has 2 races, going to beat this field. This horse has 1 race. I don't totally trust the horse going to win. Let me ask you a question. What about the number 7 voter protection? I mean, maybe he just stinks, and his dirt race was an abomination, and he had actually run a little bit in the dirt one time he ran.
That was the problem.
But he is getting back to the turf, and his best turf race was probably his debut race behind second July, who came back and did win the futurity on the turf in his next start. So he's kind of a fuzzy in here. And I don't think Partners Hero is such a total bum. He had a bigger trip, but Rogers Ginger was a first-time starter. Maybe he'll come back and not run as well in his second start.
Maybe he won't.
So I mean, I think he's very much the likeliest winner of this race, but I think we'll have to agree to disagree about who the most likely winner is in the sequence. Race number 4. Race number 4 is the Bertram F. Bongard, the Colt division of when the Joseph Jimmo was run here. Was that Friday? Impressive win, by the way, by that Todd Pletcher.
Yeah.
Second time starter. Horse got an 82 buyer. That's a nice horse. She'll be a big favorite in the Maid of the Mist. You and I are on very different places in this race, and We'll take a look at the replay of the funny side, which was run the day before the Travers when Senbai was able to control in the front end, and we'll see if he gets clear of Surprise Boss today. But the horse you probably want out of this race, and everyone but you, Anthony, may want out of this race, is the 3 Sensational, who really did have significant trouble in this race and just badly lost position in here, falling well back in the field, and actually ran a remarkably good race when you consider that this race was totally dominated on the front end. We saw the second place, or the 5th place finisher come back and win that maiden race yesterday. Unfortunately, Jeremiah Englehart's horse can't get out of the gate. In the meantime, Shipsational has dropped back into 6th at this point. If we could highlight, you can see where the horse is. A little tough to see at this point. I'm having trouble because it's not. I guess this horse is down on the rail actually right now, and just really gets taken out of position. And keep in mind, this is a horse that was a bit forward first time. I don't think he's that fast, but he's faster than he was in here. And actually, when he angles out, he makes a significant run right there. Is that him with the, I think with
pink
the
cap
pink
on the
cap,
outside?
Yeah, on the outside. It would have been nice if we highlighted a little bit more, but okay. Anyway, you can go back and watch this if you want. Shipsational had a very difficult relative trip while Senbai was just cruising up front. Maybe Senbai comes back to win. He feels like a last time was the time horse to me. I think Shipsational is a very big player in this race. You obviously disagree. You have him next to last.
I didn't really like him in here. I don't know. I think he has to improve a good deal.
He does. He got
yeah,
a 64
I
buyer
think
in his debut, and Senbai got a 68 buyer winning that race. And in his second start, he had a huge trip, and he got a 58. But I don't think he just has to show natural
Every horse in the
progression
field has run faster numbers than him.
Okay. Well, I think you're so wrong in this race that I can't even imagine
Okay.
it. I don't even know what you were looking at to have this horse forward, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm absolutely shocked that you don't have this horse at least second here. I mean, you think Senbai's going to ride on the wheel? I don't, but it's possible. I mean, isn't Surprise Boss supposed to run with him? Do you really think that Jose Lascano's going to let him go? This horse has only been effective.
I think Senbei's just faster.
You do?
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think Senbei's just faster.
We'll see. Maybe. We'll see. I think Sensational's going to run very well in here. We disagree. Do you have any opinion on Whittingham Park?
I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know how different his races were first time. I guess he improved a little bit last time with the blinkers, but he was able to set a pretty easy pace last time. He's going to have to rate off these horses today, right?
No,
he's the 3rd speed.
On paper, he's not close to this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I didn't like him either. I agree with you. I thought he said a slow pace last time. I like Shipsational. You like Senbai. We'll see what happens in race number 4. Take a break after race number 5. Race number 5, we are on the turf.
Pick 6 time.
And pick 6 starts off here. There's no carrier. No. I feel like you and I handicapped 2 completely different races here.
I had a tough time with this race.
Well, I'm up 80. Well, I would be up 85 lunches, but I'm giving you a lunch credit because you did very graciously buy me breakfast this morning. So it's at 84 because you picked a horse like Jill's Hot Mess that ran exactly where she figured to run, dead last yesterday.
No, this is Jill's Hot Mess.
No, you picked a horse, I said, like Jill's Hot Mess, who is off of 2 wins against inferior competition, and she's gotten 2 perfect trips going 5.5 furlongs against lesser, and she's going to get bet because she shows those wins. How's she going to win this race?
I was looking forward to betting on her today, to be honest with you.
Don't. And then you've got It's a Keeper, who beat an inferior field. I'd get the Candy Run the other day with an absolutely perfect trip where the 3rd horse got completely left. I mean, I'm going to have to say we disagree completely about this race. Why is Jill's Hot Mess going to win this race?
I think she's going to work out another perfect trip.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, you got
every time you say that, that doesn't mean anything.
Party Pages is going to go. She's going to sit off of her, and she's just going to do this. She's going to do the same thing she did the last 2 times.
Okay. I tell you what. I'll bet you 2 lunches the 12 finishes ahead of her.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm 86. I'm shocked you didn't pick the 12 in this race. You've liked every Tom Morley horse, even horse like the one who had no chance yesterday. I'll bet you 2 lunches the 12 finishes ahead of the 4.
Wait, say that again?
2 lunches the 12 finishes ahead of the 4.
No, my opinion here is the 6. Everything else is filled out. I like Jill's a Hot Mess.
Okay, I'll bet you 2 lunches the 7 finishes ahead of the 6.
No, I don't. No, because I have 7s.
Okay.
You want fetching for a lunch? You could have fetching.
Oh, yeah. That's a joke.
You could have fetching
one
for a
one lunch, 2 overs. It doesn't matter. The 6 has no chance. But we'll take a look at Creasy the last time she was in a race where she actually had a chance, and that was 3 races back here. And now she's in the Morley barn that you were correctly pointing out is on a big run. Their horses seem to really be running. And this horse just buried Giacosa. You know, that's Giacosa who won the Yaddo last time. Well,
Yeah, I got it.
last time she was in the Yaddo, which, other than Giacosa, was probably a tough spot for her. And the time before that, she was wide the whole way around the track on a giant gold rail, which was probably no more apparent in any race the entire meet than that race. Finished behind Spongy, who also had a wide trip in there. I thought Crest Creasy was a very, very logical horse.
This horse's win came at a time when the Rob Atras barn was on fire.
This horse has an entire resume of races that are better than the horses in this
but
race.
let me ask you a question.
She's a stick out
Hold
in
on a
here,
second.
Anthony. Your horse is ridiculous.
If you take her 2 races for Rob Atras off her card,
okay. Now let's take
the
take
last year of her form,
Okay.
which is only 5 races.
This is the problem with why you struggle in turf races, Anthony. You don't actually look at what happens in races. Her race on November 6th might have been the most ridiculous against the track trip you'll ever see. Okay, and VIP Nation and Giacosa were hugging the gold rail opening weekend at Aqueduct. She was out in the 4-path with Eric Cancel, who is too often unprepared in those situations and just out of position in a slow-paced race wide the whole way. Then she ran behind Lead Guitar. She ran in the Giotto. I mean, she did nothing but run races that would beat this field. I'm sorry, Anthony, but you're dreaming up that she was with Rob Atras as the reason she ran well when she's just a very logical horse in here.
Okay.
Listen, Silky Blue is in a lot of ways a super logical horse in here. I just don't trust her. We'll take a look at her 2 races back because she ran so abysmally last time, and she was scratched subsequent to her last race, either late at Belmont or at Saratoga. I don't think the race was rained off. I think she was scratched out of a race, so you do have to worry a little bit, you know, what happened in her last race. But she's 2 for 2 at 7 furlongs. She fits this race like a glove, and I don't think you can leave her out. I just don't totally trust her.
Yeah, I don't trust her. She's a famous 5th pick. She's won both of her, like you said. Both of her starts have been both of her wins have come here going 7/8 in her career.
You've got Pure Bodie picked in this race, who rode the goldest of gold rails, who got an unbelievably great trip and setup, and beat My Lips Are Sealed, who you don't even like in an easier spot later today.
Yes, that's all correct.
You need to look at more trips in turf races. I think
correct.
include a Creasy in any multi-race bets you make. I think you'll be unhappy if you don't include her, but we'll see. We disagree in there. That's the first 5. We'll take a break and be back with a late Fick 5.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
We are back. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling for race number 6. Obviously, and somebody says to me on Twitter, so this was a day where a number of horses got in off the also eligibles that were major players. None more so than Let Her Inspire You gets in. You have her on top. I have her second.
No, we both have her second.
Oh, I thought you originally picked her on top.
No, we both picked the same first turn.
Okay. We'll take a look at Let Her Inspire You in this race, in her first race, or second race. I'm not a big fan of hers. I bet against her last time. I bet Mom in her last race, actually, and I think she's extremely vulnerable. Again, she did stumble at the start, though, and we're going to show you the stumble from the head-on so you can get an idea of just how badly she stumbled. She's the number 1 horse. I mean, that was a legit stumble, and it took her a bit out of the race. Now, she got a very easy trip thereafter. I don't know. I'm a little bit circumspect of this horse. But the stumble was legit last time.
It was. Yeah, it absolutely was. And obviously she ran by November. You know what bothers me, Andy? You get a couple of comments here. The stumbled at the break. Antsy gate. Obviously this filly has some issues when she gets over to the starting gate. And I'm not
Well,
I'm
a stumble
not a huge
like
fan
that
of
is pretty random, Anthony.
I don't agree with that. I think that's the whole to her
You don't think it's
benefit
random?
today. She'll be the last one loaded, as she is the outside.
Well, that
She's in
does
the outside
matter
stall.
if you think that stuff's
Yeah,
relevant, which I don't.
Think,
but
I think that's going to matter
you think
today.
that the stumble is relative to the horse being?
Yeah, absolutely. They just get around the starting gate and they just don't. There are horses that just don't like being
Okay.
in and around that
We
starting
disagree
gate.
for the 17th time on today's show.
Well, there's
but
no
that's fine.
disagreeing about that.
No, we disagree. The stumble had something to do with the fact that
Okay,
the
you
horse
can
may or may
disagree
not have
if
been
you-
antsy
That's fine.
in the gate the first time. But okay, that's fine. Why do you like the 12?
I have a tip on the 12.
Okay, I hate the 12 now.
No, you hate the
You're
12.
0 for 4 with tips
I know
so
I
far.
am.
They've embarrassed
I know
you
I
so
am.
far at this meet.
I know I am. Listen, this guy. I mean, this is what he does, right?
And this horse is half to who?
No, I don't have it.
You told me you were going to start looking up the
I
pedigree.
was. I did. I don't have it. Is it somebody noteworthy enough to know?
Yeah.
Give it to me.
No.
You're not going to tell the
No,
world?
I'll tell him on Twitter.
I'm going to
It's
see
a
it on
half to
Twitter.
espresso shot, Anthony. Come on.
All right. Well,
you got to look
mean,
it up.
Andy, you see, you and I look at things a little differently. I'm not going to start throwing around espresso shot. It's just not me.
This is the most ridiculous
I have high
nonsense I've
stand-
ever
I'm
heard
kidding.
in my entire life.
Same connection,
She's a
by the
half
way.
to espresso shot. So obviously some pedigree. There was one other runner that ran a little bit and two that didn't do much running. Obviously, Jorge Abreu has been dangerous with first-time starters. Did want to mention some other horses in here. I think the two.
Pimanova.
A practical joke. It's a tricky thing. I don't know why you would breed practical joke to this damn side, because she's a turf horse and he was a dirt horse and into mischief. It's a little bit odd.
We spoke about this up at Saratoga. This horse was
Yes, this was another tip of yours. This was another tip of yours.
This horse was
Nice horse.
steamed up and looked like the horse was going to get the candy off the turn and just tired late. But like you said, it's a weird pedigree, and now they're going to try the dirt. I mean, that wasn't a particularly fast race or a particularly
It was a turf race.
good effort.
So the
Yeah.
question is whether or not you want to try the sire side or the dam side.
Right.
And it works sometimes one way or the other. Listen, maybe she just isn't any good. But having said that, took a lot of money for a trainer who wins a lot of races, and I don't think should be completely ignored here. So I have her third. Other horses that I included, the 11 Take Charge Lisa, who worked a nice 10 and a fifth, and they paid $107,700, by the way, 107 even, at OBS with no pedigree at all, off a 10 and a fifth work. So I think that's a little bit noteworthy.
At what point does it go to 7,000?
I guess they didn't go to 75, 107, 105, 107. Usually they'd go to 7.5, but they went to 7,000. But you've got this Tom Morley horse in.
Save that nickel.
Tom Morley, you've got this one in, but not Creasy.
I do.
Okay. I bet Creasy does better than this one. And that's about it. Michelle Nevin has one, by the way, is a half-hour Supernova, the 6, Sister Linda, and 4 foals that couldn't run at all. Race number 7. Thought race number 7 was an interesting race. Take a look at the horse you have on top. Was a very dangerous player, made my day, and you can watch the race and tell us what you like about this horse.
So this gets back to beautiful Belmont Park after a couple of nice efforts up at Saratoga. Last time out, after a little bit of trouble at the start, this horse just lost all position and was, destined for what happened. Just going to be wide throughout. And
she was 3.5 wide in the first turn, 4 wide in the second turn, angled over about the 2 to 3 path the second turn. The other thing I liked about her that's sort of obvious is this was a race that completely fell apart. And he was wide and close to the pace. And if you look at it right now, he's actually second until the very, very late stages. Tulane ran a huge race to win, but this race really came apart at the seams in the late stages. And he was the one that not only was making moves in a race that collapsed, but he was the best of the horses that were forwardly placed, and he was wide. He's a super logical horse, and he's absolutely the horse to beat in this race. But I'm a little bit scared of the number 2 Prefect. I found some Danny Gargan stats that are pretty astounding, actually. He's got sensational numbers when you look at his win first off the claim and turf routes. And I'm not a huge Prefect fan, but this horse has run some fast figures going longer. Last time out was forwardly placed in another race that fell apart, and I think this horse has to be considered very dangerous.
late equipment change with a pair of blinkers added on today as well. bothers me that he claimed him for the 40. He's running for the 40. He did run okay
Why
last
does
time.
it bother you? You pick drop downs all the time, and you'd say,
Well,
"Well, no, he claimed this horse for 40.
him.
He claimed it for 40. It's a $45,000 purse. He gets $6,000.
I don't know. I don't think you think they're going to line up to claim this horse.
So then, why do you care? Why do you care that he's running for 40 if you don't think you're going to lose him?
It's a barn that usually moves them up.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet you if I looked at that 12 or 29 record, there aren't a lot of horses moving way up in there, but I'm happy to look at them afterwards and let you know. If he's not going to lose them, why are you worried that he's running for the same price? I don't understand.
Because the MO of the barn is to move them up.
You have that. You believe
claiming
that's true. You think when I look up all 30 horses that were 29 horses in that sample size,
I think more of them are going to be moved up than drop down.
I'd like to bet a couple million on that. Horses don't particularly win moving up. Agent Creed. Agent Creed got about as ridiculous a trip last time against the track as you could possibly get during the gold rail period on the inner turf. This horse broke 3/4 of a slow, was actually forced out outside of Shouty, Shouty, Shouty when that horse was taken out of the race in a very, very tough race, and ended up, 4 to 6 wide in the turn, 2 to 3 wide coming into the backstretch, 3 wide in the second turn. This was just absolutely no chance. And you go back to the races at Belmont Park, and they absolutely fit in these against horses like Straw of Gold and Regal Speaker, who make perfect sense. Dropping down in here, I would think this New York bred's going to be claimed in here. You would think with the non-winners of 1. I think Agent Creed, I don't think he's likely winner. I think you're right. The 5 is a more likely winner. I think the 2 is a more likely winner. But he's going to be a much better price than them, and I don't think the margin is necessarily that strong. So that's why I picked him on top. It's all 2 5s and 7s for me. You've got the 11 in here, Public Information, who I tried last time.
Yeah, I thought he might be able to get a piece in here. Source was with Chad Brown, and now claim given over to Jorge Abreu. I thought ran well enough last time from an impossible draw. We'll see.
Well, he got a very good trip last time, and it was a race that completely fell apart. I don't think he's impossible here either, but I feel like he was the last time was the time horse. That race was just disintegrating in the last 1/8 of a mile, and it's sort of an interesting situation. This owner claimed 2 horses off of Chad Brown. This was one of them. Wayne Potts has horrific numbers off the claim with turf routers. I think he's 0 for 18, maybe 4 hitting the board. Did no running. Went back to a guy who worked for Chad Brown, and the horse did run better. I don't disagree with that, but he also got a great setup, and now he breaks from an outside post and it's mile and a 16th on the inner turf.
Smell that?
No.
Smell like something burning?
Well, something's probably burning somewhere. Are you worried it's nearby?
I don't know.
I mean,
it's pretty.
Anthony, the wind is blowing about 20 plus miles an hour.
It's pretty overwhelming.
Really? I don't smell it. Okay. But I have sinus issues. I'm a little congested, as you can hear. Race number 8. Race number 8. If My Lips Are Sealed can't win this race, then she's not going to win any races going forward, in my opinion.
You said I didn't like her, and I said to myself, I'm pretty sure
you
I picked her
against
second.
her. You picked against her.
Okay.
Well, you picked against her. No. And you picked Pure Bodie in it. Doesn't make any sense to me, but that's fine. This horse ran very well last time. This was his horse that chased outside against the gold rail. There's Pure Bodie, who'd spent every inch of the race on the rail until around the 3/16 ball and got a great ride from Jose Loscano. There's nothing that Irad could have done, though he's not exactly one of the most attuned to rail biases riders of all time, but he just couldn't get the lead. And now he's in a race where I think she's supposed to be able to get the lead in here. I'm not exactly sure where the other speeds are. You'd think Johnny would send her, and I mean, she ran extremely well on June 5th. She did not run well in a fast pace, but she did not run well, to be fair, on July 24th. But I thought her last race was very good. Her races 3 and 4 back were good, and just thought she found the right situation.
I thought it was 7s and 8s. I wonder if, and I know on paper not fast enough, but with the rail draw, can Golden Oldie maybe be aggressive with Kendrick from the rail and try and protect the inside part, the inside
she has
draw?
no speed,
I don't know.
but okay. She has no speed compared to this horse, but okay. This horse could be 5 lengths in front of her.
Listen, I don't disagree.
Okay. Anyway, what do you like about Marvelous World?
I don't disagree. I thought Marvelous World ran just fine first time out.
Why?
Came back.
Why?
Well, she had some equipment issues and she had some traffic issues. I mean, I thought.
Okay,
she
anyway,
ran
what
well
happened
last
to
time.
her was that she had a bad break. She came out at the start and she bumped off another horse, and it kind of took her completely out of the race. Now, after that, she actually got a very good trip. She stayed on the rail, she angled out in the stretch, but it was a race that was dominated forward, so I didn't think she ran badly either, and I thought she might have some upside and could be a price, but we'll see. What about the 12 Master of the Tunes? I thought this horse a little bit interesting. This is another horse that during the Gold Rail time on the inner turf was 4 wide, 3 to 4 wide around the racetrack, and really had absolutely no chance. And it was in that race that we just looked at, the My Lips Are Sealed race. Horse was so far back, that's why I didn't show it. I didn't want to show the entire race. I know the horse is too slow if the maiden win 2 back, but I think this was a little bit interesting as a sneak in here.
She got a great trip when she broke her maiden, a good ride that day too.
She did, but she had an impossible trip last time out, and maybe she's just improved since then. Just okay is not okay. The horse you have third is an interesting horse in there. Why do you have the horse third?
Let me get back.
I have her fifth.
Say that again.
Why do you have her third? I said
Well,
her
off a
fifth.
couple of, not a couple, but 3 consecutive poor breaks. Another horse that's going to get an outside draw now.
Wouldn't you be concerned that
Yeah,
the poor break's a problem?
I am absolutely concerned. I mean, I have her third. I think, to me,
Yeah, a
I
poor
want
break,
to
2
lean
back.
on the 7.
The horse didn't have a bad break, 2
Well,
back.
she got herself. She
she-
got into some trouble.
Wasn't her fault.
Again, I'm a big believer that these horses that don't break cleanly.
But she
are
got
more
bumped, and then
prone-
she got steady
Right, I
when other
understand
horses
that,
came
but
over
part
on
of that
her.
reason is because she's not getting away from there. You and I disagree about that.
It doesn't make
I
sense.
thought she ran well last time. I thought she ran really well. I thought she
Yeah.
was home last time. To be honest with you.
I have mixed feelings about her last
Okay.
race. And I'm not saying that she stumbled forward, and it wasn't a bad stumble. It wasn't one of those stumbles that compromised her. And she stayed on the rail every step of the way. Now, the winner also stayed on the rail and got a superior ride. I think it was Dylan Davis who rode that horse. But I really thought she should have won that race the more I looked at it. Now she draws in the outside. I know it's the Widener, so it's not a big deal. But I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I'm not saying she can't win. I'm just not sure she's that good at the end of the day. But I thought it was My Lips Are Sealed and sort of open after that. See what happens. Was that race number 8? Race number 9. Is it Bella Sophia? Bella Sophia might be 2 to 5 in this race. Everybody loves this horse. Everybody loves her, but me. We'll take a look at her test. If she runs her test, she's probably going to win here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was some effort. And she showed an ability to sit off for the second consecutive start. I don't think she's going to have to sit off in here. And she's the controlling speed in here. And I think she's just going to pop off from the rail with Luis Saez. And she is a nice filly. The one time she got beat was in that second career start where she just got.
She ran very well that
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
she got,
She
she
ran
got
well in every race she's ever run.
she's improved with almost every start, and that test last time I think would just bury these horses.
I don't think it'll bury him, but I think it'll win. Well, I don't think it'll bury Lake Avenue, but I think it'll probably win. She had everything her own way in the test. It was a very moderate pace, and she was stalking outside, but she ran well. She probably is the controlling speed in here, and we'll see if Luis lets her run. I think it would be a good idea to. I didn't like her in the test, and I was completely wrong, and you liked her. It was a good pick. I did not like her. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon now
Sure,
at 3 to 5 in this race.
Of course not.
And the reality of Lake Avenue, as we look at her ballerina, and listen, she had an easy trip last time. They were waltzing on the front end, but she put herself in position to run second, and she did run second to Gamine. Is Gamine not the Gamine of last year? Has she had easy trips in her races? Yeah. She's still Gamine.
She's still Gamine, yeah.
And she finished ahead of Cece, who's a very good horse, who won the Princess Rooney in her prior start. And she's running well. She's photoing with Bell's the One. She probably was best that day. She was best when she was second to Estello Talencio in a race at Belmont. And she's just consistently run 3 races. It's not like Speaker's Quarter yesterday, who, by the way, was second choice in that race. It was predictable. Everybody but the morning line maker thought it was possible. It was a terrible bet, but was...
Well, we talked about that,
yeah.
right?
We'll talk about this race if we have time after we're done. I mean, the more I looked at it, the more I thought, why would I not want to take Lake Avenue? And they're 4 to 5 and 7 to 5. I bet that's a bigger gap.
I
I'll
agree
bet
with
it's
that.
1 to 2 and 8 or 9 to 5.
Right.
Not like I'm getting some gigantic price. No, I can bet that $50. I'm not kidding. I'm going to bet that $50 bet.
If you
like
like
somebody,
either, if you like anybody
especially
in there.
especially the 1 or the 4.
Correct.
Here. I mean, that is a tremendous promotion. And
If
I'm
you
not
think
just saying it because it's
Bella
Ira Betts, because I don't.
Bella Sophia is a cinch today. At 3 to 5,
At 3
you
to
can
5,
turn
you're
it into
getting
8 to 5 and a 4
for
horse
$50
field.
bet. Yeah, I mean, I understand if you're somebody who bets $500, it may not matter to
Right,
you.
but whatever.
if you're somebody who's going to bet $30 or
You bet
$20
the other 10
even,
or 20.
I mean, you think about the value you're getting. It's a really, and I'm not. You don't see me sitting around saying, "Well, this is a great promotion and promoting it." This is a true
This is a
value
great
promotion.
promotion.
And if you're like me and you like Lake Avenue, and even if she's 7 to 5, and I turned a 480 horse into a 680 horse, I mean it's a 5 horse.
It's significant.
It's a 5-horse field. It's not a 12-horse field. The
4-horse
favorite,
field.
4-horse field. It's not a 12-horse field. The favorite is 4 to 1.
Right.
And you're turning the horse to a 5 to 1 shot. This is significant value. You compare it to the takeout. I was originally going to pick Bella Sophia. The more I thought about it, and I was thinking about it at 4 in the morning, I had thought about it a lot. I'm like, I don't need. Well, I woke up in the middle of the night. I've been sleeping weird hours. I read this book, Harlem Shuffle, by Colson Whitehead, which is terrific, by the way. It's really fun. And you would actually like this. I was thinking you would like it. The main character is talking about, forget the word they use. People would sleep in stages. They would go to sleep at like 8 or something and sleep till midnight, get up from midnight to 2, and then they'd do whatever their work was, and then go back to bed for the second part of the sleep. And I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't usually go to bed that early, but I'll go to bed like 11 or something, or 10:30, 11. Well, if I haven't fallen asleep early at 11:30, and I'll get up at 3:30 in the morning and I'll send emails and I'll do things and then go back to bed for a few hours. But
I get slanted looks like. Send me an email at 4 in the morning. Yes, I did.
wake up in the middle of the night. I'd rather, instead of tossing and turning in bed,
Get something done. I'm with you.
Don't Call Me Mary did something that no other horse has done in 11 races. She finished ahead of Chubwagon at Parks. At some point, it would be nice, and Chubwagon should have been disqualified yesterday, in my opinion. I don't know why they stretched her out, but they finished first, and they left him up for first. At some point, don't they want to see if she can? Wouldn't it have been more exciting rather than mile 16th races to run? Well, I guess. No, I guess. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not going to. They're in Pennsylvania. She's a PA bred. She did run the race at Aqueduct. I'm not knocking them. Well, here's what it is. I think Chubwagon's a pretty cool horse. I hope we see her in the winter at some point.
Right.
I hope we see her in a couple, because she's a neat horse. But, I mean, do I like Don't Call Me Mary here? No, but she's improved, and I know it's sloppy, but she beat Chubwagon. And I don't think that should be completely ignored.
I agree.
She's a pretty cool horse. Anyway, that is the Gallant Bloom. I know very clearly my favorite Gallant Bloom.
Okay.
It was the stretch duel between Sarah Louise, who had been the last horse to beat Rachel Alexandra, and that really good sprinter of Baffert's that had won the juvenile, the filly.
Midnight, no.
No. She had won the Blessing, Indian Blessing. Indian Blessing and Sarah Louise battling down the stretch here. That was a really, really great race.
Good race.
Really great race, yeah. Race number 10. So, tell us about Athena Dancer.
My man Wayne, I haven't picked a Wayne Potts horse in a while.
Good move. Well, he's won 2 races in the last 3 months in New York, so.
Third off the layoff, running against 2 of my favorites today. It's a keeper and Jill's a hot mess. Horse dropping down into the claiming ranks here.
She had no running last time at all.
Well, I don't know if she had the best trip last time, right?
She was squeezed between. She had legit trouble in the start.
Yeah, I don't know if she was.
Well, you like Jill's
hot
hot mess, an impossible spot. You might as well pick her here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I want to use 5 or 6 horses closing out to pick 5.
Okay.
I had a tough time with the race.
Clearly. No high school crush for you.
No, she's in the mix. I just,
Not that the public can see,
but not that the public can see.
She's in the mental mix. Okay.
Yeah, she's in the mental
Anyway,
mix.
let's take a look at the beginning of the first half mile of her last race. She is the number 6 horse in this race, and she is going to get herself into a significant amount of trouble at a couple of stages here. Right in here, she's going to steady in behind horses. You could sort of see it even there, going into the trees. She gets herself in trouble, but it's not the one instance of trouble you see in the there. Right in here, she steadies out, and that's at about the 3/8, maybe 7/16 pole. So she's already lost position, gotten completely shuffled out, and then as they go to the 5/16 pole, as the start correctly suggests, Watch her right behind horses
Right there.
inside,
Ooh.
right there. She just gets completely and totally steadied out, and she's actually back to right inside at last there. And when he finally gets her to the outside in the clear, Luis, I mean, she comes running. She only finished 2 lengths, and it's turf racing. Turf sprints, finishes 2 lengths behind Social Whirl, but after all that trouble, and there were a number of moments of trouble in there, now it switches to Michelle Nevin. I'm in. 1 for 18, I don't care. 1 for 9 in the turf, though. The turf record, much different than the dirt record.
Sure.
I'm in on this horse. I'm also going to use the 12 back channel because I'll tell you something. This is a shocking turf sprint. There is absolutely no speed
in this
whatsoever.
race.
And I think Kendrick will get position. But back channel upset that field with a big fig that would probably win this race by going to the lead in an
By being
absolutely paceless
aggressive.
race.
Yep.
So one thing, that's not lost on Javier Castellano. And I think Javier's been riding very, very well,
Very
especially
well.
when he came back to Belmont Park.
What did Yogi say? Deja vu all over again.
Well,
Same kind of scenario, right? Where there's no speed on paper,
Yeah.
and maybe just try and take advantage.
Why
of
wouldn't
it.
he do that? You know, and I think Javier rode fine at Saratoga, just not getting the opportunities he once get, and that's
Right.
understandable.
Sure.
I mean, in the situation,
Tough colony.
But I think that horse is very, very dangerous considering how the race plays out. Theodore Grace, another horse that's not impossible. I have your horse at Theodore Dancer, and I'm sort of kidding. Theodore Grace, I think, has to be a little bit interesting cutting back to it's not gotten the best of trips, but I think cutting back also to a shorter distance may help, though I worry 6 may be a little short.
Sure, 6 might be a little short. Did win going the 7,
you've
and
got
with
her
the
set.
lack of pace, you would think it might be an issue, but we'll see.
All right. So the PA races, we got a couple minutes here. What time is it? Oh,
Do we really have time?
yeah, it's 12:20. I'm not on until 1:50 today. I love Hot Rod Charlie. He's been my top
Cool
horse
horse.
all year. I've had him on the top of that poll I fill out every week all year. I believe that in a fairly run race, he can beat Essential Quality. Whether or not they'll beat the Olders, I
After
don't
his
know.
last 2 efforts, you would have to think that they're on par.
Ran a 111 buyer
Last 3
yesterday.
efforts.
That was a very fast race. Midnight Bourbon ran back to his race in the Travers. I think the worry with Midnight Bourbon is the 2 best races he's run yesterday in the Belmont, he's been able to control. Honest paces and fast paces.
Well, Hot Rod Charlie. you mean.
Yeah, but he's been on the front end. Obviously, with Knicks Go, theoretically in the Breeders' Cup,
It's
he's not going to
impossible.
be able to do that. Now, he did win the Haskell rating, but it was a much lower fig. So I think it's fair to question whether or not he's as good when
He's
he can't
more effective
control.
when he's on the front end, as most horses who are front runners
There
are.
are 5 exceptional 3-year-olds out there between Jackie's Warrior, Life is Good, Essential Quality, Hot Rod Charlie, and Midnight Bourbon. I mean, those are 5 extremely good 3-year-olds.
Well, it's the Life is Good situation. Is there enough foundation? Is there enough?
Why? He's run 5 races this year.
I know,
Well, he's running in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
I know,
He's
I
a
would
cinch.
argue that
Who's going to beat him in there?
nobody. But I would argue that there's enough foundation from earlier in the year to
Running
run
the
that horse
Classic?
in the Classic.
I wish he was in the Classic too. I'm with you. But he would be a problem for Knicks Go. But Knicks Go would be a problem for him, which may be part of the reason they're doing it. I'll say, I know my friend Nick Tamaro put it very well. He rated kindly yesterday, and that's all good and fine. It was a good race to experiment. In the Breeders' Cup,
yeah, you know.
air it out.
Yeah, you got to you got
Use
to
his speed as
dance
a
with the
weapon.
girl you took
His
there.
speed is a
I
weapon.
don't agree. I don't disagree. Rather,
I think that's a worse. You do a Knicks Go with him in the Breeders' Cup Mile. They want to run with him. Silver State wants to beat him. Silver State. I want to say 2 things about his race yesterday. He ran a tremendous race because he didn't get his usual perfect trip. He got dead left in there
Dead left.
and was completely and totally out of position. And as you know, I've been critical of him because he's a horse that's gotten great trips. Well, he didn't get one yesterday. Now I read some clowns suggesting that Ricardo Santana cost him the race because he stopped riding him. He never stopped riding him. What was he supposed to do? Whipping and slashing the entire way to the wire? He was riding that horse hard. He's as strong a guy as there is in the game.
stronger guy
The
as that-
guy's one of the best finishers in the game. There's probably no better. Joel Rosario's a great
you
finisher.
were going to
That guy's
say
a great
you were going to
finisher.
go. I'm going to tell you
He
what.
stopped riding him? The horse
I-
came back on him. The horse pulled himself up.
You
I
got a
don't
few
know.
more years on me. I haven't seen too many better finishers, period. That guy is strong,
To
man.
blame him and say he
No,
stopped
ridiculous.
riding is ridiculous.
He's a horse he's a little quirky, right? Even in the Oaklawn race when he made the lead, he kind of idled on horses.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It was a weird finish, but to immediately jump and blame the jockey, and I watched it
It's
like
very
4 or 5
easy.
more
It's very,
times
listen,
afterwards.
we're critical of riders. It's very easy to do. In that instance, it was not his fault.
I watched it 4 or 5
at
times.
all.
The guy did nothing wrong.
At all.
And the horse ran a tremendous. I mean, there's also an argument that he was a little worn out from getting left, making a huge
making
move
the
to get out of the
yep.
race. I don't know. I was surprised. Some interesting racing yesterday. Life is Good got a 99 buyer, but I was talking with somebody after race. It was an impossible race to use to judge because the pace was so slow that he could never run a fast fig
Right.
because the pace, it was almost like a turf race in that respect. And for him, that was a very slow pace. I'm a big Life is Good fan, and Jackie's Warrior. He's
What
a
else was I
machine.
gonna say?
He's a machine.
8-3. We joked about how that Todd Pletcher New York bred filly geared down. That was geared down yesterday.
That was a joke. The reality is that it is. I like Frisian Fire. Frenzy Fire. He's a really cool horse. I love that he runs. The older dirt sprinters have not been a particularly fast bunch for a while.
No.
The real Jackie's Warrior runs in the Breeders' Cup. He'll bury those horses like a horse hasn't buried a Breeders' Cup sprint field in a long time. They can't keep up with him.
You say it a lot about how you never understand people making picks 5, 6, 7 weeks ahead of time.
Who's going to beat him?
You look at that Breeders'
He
Cup.
can only beat himself.
He can only beat himself.
I'm sorry.
And he's had a smidge of gait issues where he hasn't broke.
No, I don't agree. He got cut off completely. He broke just fine in the Woody Stevens, and he got cut off at the start. He got cut off after the start.
I mean, you look at that race. You look at that race. A little less than 6 weeks out now. I mean, who's going to beat him?
He can only beat himself.
Yeah.
He runs his race. He's too good for those horses.
He's too fast.
He's just too good for him. It's not. He's such a good horse.
I mean, he went 21 and change yesterday, and he swats horses away.
Well, I kept talking about Life is Good. If Life is Good hadn't been his last race, he would have got a full second faster than those other 2 races.
That's exactly right.
He's a machine. That horse, he's a genuinely. And
He's
I'll tell you
an
something else about
he's an old
these
school
horses.
sprinter.
I think there's a good chance that these horses, these 3-year-olds, stick around next year.
I hope so.
I think there's a good chance.
I
And that
hope
would
so.
be great for the game. You know what else is great for the game? NyraBets. Head on over. NyraBets.com. Use the promo code MATCH200. And become a member of NyraBets. We'll match them with $200 for your initial deposit. $50 win bet bonus on the Gallant Bloom. Highly recommended. Opt in. Make sure you opt in. Bet $50. You're going to bet something. You like either the 1 or 4 or anybody else, but particularly the 1 and 4. Great value in there in that promotion. And finally, America's Day at the Races, 12:30 to 6 o'clock. Team is here and all in place. Anthony, it's a pleasure.
See you Thursday.
All right. Oh, you're splitting?
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day. You have a great day. America's Day at the Races starting in just a few moments on FS2. Also watch on the Nyra YouTube channel.